Hello everybody and welcome to our week 10 lesson, which is the family. It's section 1 in chapter 11. So let's start. From the very beginning of history, in the pre-industrial and the industrial societies, all the work, or we can say all the economic activities, are done within the home setting. But after the pre-industrial and or the post-industrial, the setting changed, so all the economic activities are done outside of the home setting. So what's a family? We can say that family is a group of people who are related by marriage, blood, or adoption, and who often live together and share economic resources. This will be the typical definition of the family, a group of people living together. The term family, here is its definition. But as a social structure, the family, all over the world, in all of the different societies, the family is the same. It's simply a unit that will ensure the economic and the emotional security for its members. But the structure of it will differ from a society to another. This what we're gonna discuss in our lesson. Since you're born, if you're gonna look to the screen, to the top left side corner, you're gonna see two diagrams. This is ego or yourself. Of course, you are born in a family, so at the top of the first diagram, you're gonna see your parents, and here is you. So you are born in a family. This will be your nuclear family. So if you are born in a family with one or two of your parents, this will consist your nuclear family. Inshallah, one day you're gonna form or you're gonna establish your own family. After getting married, you will have some kids, so you're gonna establish your own network or your own family. So the first one, the family that you are born in, it will be your nuclear family, one or both parents and their children. Then you're gonna create your own. So we can say that these two families, the one that you are born in and the other one which you're gonna create, will be your family of orientation. Both of them are the same. عشان الناس ما تتلخبطش. Both of them are the same. Nuclear family and the family of orientation. The nuclear family, one or both parents and their children. The family of orientation, the nuclear family into which the person is born or adopted. Of course, you're gonna establish your own family. This will be your family of procreation. When a person marries, a new nuclear family is formed, called a family of procreation. So, the nuclear family, at the top side of the screen, at the top left side of the screen, the family that you are born in, it will be your nuclear family. The nuclear family and the family of orientation are the same. After marriage, of course, you're gonna form your own family. You're gonna establish your own family. This will be the family of procreation. If you're gonna see at this diagram, sorry, let's go back. At this diagram, the extended family, here's a family tree, as you see. Two or more generations, it's gonna be extended families. What do I mean by two or more generations? If we go back to the diagram to the left side, You're gonna see you will establish your own family, and inshallah you're gonna have some kids. Your kids will be married and they will have their own kids. So this will be two generations. So let's go on. If we're gonna see at the top of this screen, you're gonna see some kind like a diagram or a family tree. This will be a kinship. The kinship is a network of people who are related by marriage, birth, or adoption. In this kinship, you're gonna see three stages or three steps of your relatives. Of course, you're gonna have your primary relatives, mother, father, sister, brother, spouse, daughter, or son. What's a spouse? The spouse are husband or wife, by the way. Of course, we know siblings like daughters or sons, but spouse are husband or wife. The secondary relatives will be your grandparents, grandchildren, in-laws, aunts, uncles, nieces, or nephews. The tertiary or the third stage of your relatives will include, but not limit, your grandparents, grandchildren, grandaunts, granduncles, and cousins. So, the kinship will be a network of people who are related by marriage, birth, or adoption. And inside the kinship, you're gonna see three stages or three steps of your relatives: the primary, secondary, tertiary, or the first, second, and the third. So let's go on. The organization of the family, or in order to use the term family, we have to answer four questions. The first one will be how many marriage partners, who lives with whom, how is the family membership determined, and who makes the decisions in the family. In fact, most of these questions seems reasonable to most of us, because here in our society, especially here in the Middle East, of course we can simply answer all of these questions. But if we can have a global look all over the world, the pattern or the structure is different a little bit. So let's start with the first one, the marriage partners. In most industrialized nations, an individual is allowed to be married to only one person at a time, and this will make some sense. Of course, a male will be married to a female. This is marriage. But in some places, and here in our culture, by the way, Muslims are allowed to have multiple females, maximum four. So the monogamy will be the marriage of one man, the marriage of one man to one woman. Polygamy will be multiple marriage partners. So mono, the marriage one man to one woman. Polygamy will be multiple marriage partners. طيب. In these multiple partners, it can be on both ways. يعني it doesn't make some sense for most of you, but the multiple marriage partners can be multiple males or multiple females. And let's find out. The polygyny will be one man and multiple women. As I have said earlier, according to Islam, a man can be married to maximum 4 women. This is called polygyny. On the other hand, polyandry will be one woman and multiple men. And this is common, by the way, in Southeast Asia. Someone will simply tell me why this. Because of a simple fact. Because of the female infanticide. Or we can simply say killing the female babies after their birth. So the result that the society will have less females in it. Type how they can solve this problem. The woman, after getting married to a man, she will become the wife of all of his brothers. And this is common in their culture over there. Not all over the world, by the way, only in Southeast Asia. So this will be the marriage partners. What about the second one? Who lives with whom? Of course, the residential patterns, the newly married couples will have to choose either to stay or to live near the wife's home or near the husband's home, or they gonna choose their own. Of course, females will tend to choose a place next to the residence of her parents, and also the male will try to choose some place close to his family. Or they can simply decide to choose a new one. Back to the third question. How is the family membership determined? How are you going to answer this question? Use your mind a little bit. How is the family membership determined? In some societies, by the way, the kinship, do you remember the kinship? The network of people who are related together by marriage, blood, or adoption. In some societies, they can simply trace the kinship through the mother's side, and this is called matrilineal. And in other societies, they will go through the father's side, and this is called patrilineal. So what's the importance to trace the kinship through the mother's side or through the father's side? In fact, it matters, and it has something to do with the inheritance. Earlier, if the society or if the kinship will go through the mother's side, so the daughters will simply inherit their mother. And on the other hand, if it's patrilineal, the sons will simply inherit from the father's side. But I think nowadays it's mutual. It's called bitrilineal. So the inheritance will go to both sides. I do not know what's this problem, but let's go on. طيب, let's go back to number 4. Who makes the decisions in the family? Try to have some examples and try to apply it in your small family. How the decision is taken in your family. In fact, we have 3 patterns. The patriarchy, the father holds most of the authority, and I think it's usual. The matriarchy, the mother holds most of the authority, and the egalitarian, the mother and father share the authority. We can say for big issues, for big decisions, the father will take the risk. But for minor issues, for choosing, for example, the colors of the rooms, for the decoration within the home setting, or for what you're gonna eat for the next week, for example, I think this will go to the mother's side or to the matriarchy. But in most of the societies nowadays, it's a shared decision. It's a shared decision, egalitarian. So for the authority patterns, guys, we have the patriarchy, the father, the matriarchy, the mother holds most of the authority, and we have the egalitarian. The mother and father share the authority. And here comes to the final part of our lesson, the functions of the family. In fact, we have 4 important functions of any family as a social unit across the world. Of course, the most important one will be the regulation of the sexual activity. All the societies regulate the sexual activity at the family or within the family. By the family, I mean by marriage. Insect taboos. is found in every society, but categories of restricted relatives differ across culture. What does it mean? The insect taboos or the forbidden relationships. The insect taboos is a norm forbidding sexual relations or marriage between certain relatives. And I think in this issue, guys, it goes back to religion. But according to sociology, they have a different point of view. But for this issue, I think the problem solved according to the religion of the members of this family. The second function of the family will be reproduction. And of course, it does make some sense. In order to produce new members in the society, of course, the family is responsible of this activity as a social unit. So family is the approved social unit for producing members to replace those who die or move away. Rules are set in place about who can raise children and how children should be raised in order to be effective members of the society. So this is gonna be the second function of the family as a social unit. The third one, guys, will be socialization. The family, the first agent of socialization. So the societies will simply rely on the families to teach the norms of the society, how to be proper members or how to be efficient members of the society. Parents, siblings, and other relatives will serve as the earliest role models. So, have you noticed if you have baby sisters or brothers at home, you're gonna see or you're gonna find out how your baby sister will simply try to put on the high heels of her mother in order to imitate her, or in order she's looking up to be one like her. And also goes for the baby brothers, will try to imitate his father. So the functions of family will be the regulation of the sexual activity, the reproduction, the socialization, and the last one will be the economic coverage, the economic and the emotional security. Of course, the family is the basic economic unit. The family is expected to guide the psychological development of its members and provide a loving environment. So, for the functions of the family أولاد, it's the regulation of the sexual activity, reproduction, socialization, the economic and the emotional security of its members. And I can tell you now that our lesson is over. So let's have some questions in order to focus on the important points in our lesson. So our first question will be, what's the most universal social institution? Of course, it does make some sense that the most important social institution will be the title of our lesson, the family. So let's see the second question. What are the main two forms of polygamy? The main two forms of polygamy. But first of all, what's a polygamy? Try to remember. Polygamy يا أولاد. Polygamy is the multiple marriage partners. So the two forms of polygamy will be polygyny and polyandry. Exactly, polygyny and polyandry. Polygyny, multiple, a single man and multiple females, while polyandry will be, on the other hand, a single woman and multiple males. So let's see our last question. Our last question says, what are the four basic functions of every family that we have discussed in the last slide? The functions of the family. Number one will be the regulation of the sexual activities. Number two will be reproduction. Number three, socialization. Number four will be the economic and the emotional security. That's it, guys, for our lesson, and see you in the live session, inshallah, on Monday.